Lucky Boys Podcast.
Welcome to Lucky Boys Podcast. I am Will.
I'm Norm. And we're here with two special guests. Childhood buddies? No, not really.
But guys that we have worked with extensively in the past. We supported one another on each other's productions. And I'm happy to introduce Izzy and Authur.
What's going on, guys?
And they're part of Dynasty Style Productions.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Dynasty Style. How it came into fruition. A little bit of background.
Well, it kind of started off of in college. I would just like dabble and try to think of like T-shirt designs for like student clubs or like fraternity and stuff. And then after graduating, I was like talking to my boy Izzy and like, yeah, let's like design T-shirts or something like that. And then it kind of just sputtered from designing clothes and T-shirts into also like, we got to take pictures to try to sell these clothes and things like that. Then it went into making videos and then filming what we are passionate about, which is like music, art, martial arts, things like that.
Right. So Dynasty Style Productions just ended up being this place where we can essentially create and do cool things. It wasn't necessarily like something that's just, this is just for the two of us, but we wanted to just like find a lot of people who are passionate about doing a lot of different sorts of art production, video, painting, whatever the case was. And our whole mantra, we all love Bruce Lee. We all love Enter the Dragon. There's a famous scene where he's on the boat and this guy's flexing. You know what I'm saying? And he's flexing. He's like, kicking around. This is an Australian white dude, and he's like kicking around all these Chinese boat guys. And then he's like shadow boxing in front of Bruce Lee, and he goes, "Do I frighten you?" And then Bruce Lee's like, "Don't waste yourself." And that was one of the things where we're like, yo, we have so much passion in our lives and all of this stuff, and we only have one life to live. Don't waste yourself. So if you're going to go do something, do it the best you can. Obviously, we're not trained in production. We're not trained in T-shirt making, graphic design, but we just wanted to do cool things. And, your boy Norm, I'll never forget, we were working together at Generator, a.k.a. Gotham Direct, Generator Media.
Let's not name names here.
That's it, yeah.
This company.
Bad times?
Old company.
They fired me.
I didn't even know.
Shit.
Oh, man.
We didn't bring up old scars.
Well, fun fact, they also fired me too. So, but I'll never forget, like, front desk working on one of our designs. It was like a scar. It was like the Scars T-shirt. And Norm literally walks by and goes, "You like Bruce Lee?" And I'm like, "I'm Asian. Like,
not every Asian loves Bruce Lee.
True. Right. And then, forgive the generalities, right?
But the thing is, like, if you weren't a fan, you wouldn't be able to notice that was Bruce Lee because it was just an outline of the man, a silhouette.
Right.
And you saw the scar, like, across his chest. And people, no movies and no Bruce Lee, they would know where that came from, Enter the Dragon.
And I think the fun fact was, I'm not supposed to be doing graphic design at my desk at the front desk. Like I'm supposed to be doing like documents, and I hear, "Oh, is that Bruce Lee?" And I'm like, "What? Quit." Like turn the screen off. What happened? But no, and then we started having a conversation, and then I really solidified the fact that like I knew that Norm and Authur went to college together in the same frat, but like it really like allowed us to just kind of come together, find out that you guys.
So Bruce Lee was the bridge.
Exactly.
Was the bridge, yeah.
And then it connected us to you, Will, too, like doing all the video production and working on the streets, doing the song that we got to do. A lot
that
of fun.
Was incredible.
Right.
We were just talking briefly before we went on air, and like we were saying, like things don't usually come out the way you plan it. We had this whole concept for the film, and we had this whole concept for the music, and then when I brought the song to you, you were like, well, maybe we can do it like this, and then you were like, and then maybe we could, a few bars should be like this, and then you were really like holding my hand through the process, and I was just like, you know what? And I'm very open-minded when it comes. I'm super collaborative, and I want to hear what someone that especially when they're smarter than me, I want to hear what their ideas are and how to improve. Because also all I care about is the end result, is making it the best that we can possibly do it. And then when I heard the final song, we put it together, and then we had Jeremy finalize the mix.
Right.
And I get all of these these phone calls and texts like, oh shit, dude, I didn't know you know you make music. And I was like, no, it's like my boys really like held my hand through it, but it was fun. It was a great experience. Like you said, I just wanted to do something cool, something fun, right? It wasn't because it's an opportunity that I can make it as a hip hop artist. That's definitely not the case, but it's just something that's fun. You know, like, you know what? We're in 2020. There's really no excuse, right? You're gonna do whatever you want to do. There's a very low barriers of entry,
right, yeah,
right. So you can, so you in terms of the arts, you know, so everything's just kind of excuses. You know, you have mics, you have a video camera. So, you know, now I'm just like, who's around me and who's good at that shit? Let's get together and let's just have some fun. We're like kids in a park, but we got electronics,
and,
and we're all kind of like nerds in our own way. So let's like kind of nerd out, you know, and just 100%. Have fun. And you know, and that was a great experience, and I really love that it's there, and I did something like that.
So when's the mixtape dropping? Well,
never. I don't think Izzy has that much time on his hands.
I will say,
that's a lot of time you're gonna need on your hands.
Again, the mantra: don't waste yourself. Will came in every session ready to work. It wasn't like, oh, he's on his phone. He's like, no. He came in. He's like, yo, here's my bars. Here's my lines. What's the rhythm? What do we need to do to make this pop? And he asked the right questions. He made it and he, again, super open to everything. I feel like my biggest talent isn't rapping or producing or videography or anything. It's really finding people who are great at what they do and have a message and figuring out, okay, what can I do to help bring that out? And I feel like that's something that, like, Authur does a lot of martial arts. He wasn't really sure how do I express this. Let's figure it out. And he does all these dope videos with his forms, and people like his following is blown up because of people like just from all over the country,
that's awesome,
all over the world. Like, I'm getting emails like, because our stuff, our Dynasty emails are linked, and I'm getting these emails like, yo, Authur, saw your video from years ago, like really love this form, and this guy's like, he's got disciples already. He doesn't even,
So what keeps you guys going? Like, when you're not getting all these like hundreds and thousands of views and followers or subscribers, how do you keep your head up and just go, all right, I still want to fuck with this though?
I mean, that's tough. That's one of the things that I think we kind of established ourselves when we made up this like Dynasty style group. Like for myself, I've been doing martial arts before we even thought of this Dynasty style stuff or in filming or anything like that. And so I've been doing it since I was a kid, and then I'm going to be still doing it without it or with a camera. It doesn't matter. If there's no audience, that's cool, because that's how I've been doing it anyway. If there is an audience, okay, that's a bonus. That's all it really is, right? And Izzy is the same thing. I mean, he's been doing music before we even got together and thought about filming and doing all these different things. And whether or not it's all about the art and just the creative process versus like, oh, who's going to see it? But obviously, the more views you get, the easier it is to spread your message.
What do you think that it's part of, like, is it validation to have those the audience, the views, to validate your work, or is it?
I think validation is really what you make it, right?
Yeah.
I think the word about this, in my mind personally, is legacy. If you're gonna do work, you want to do the best you can, the best quality that you can. If 5 people see it, then 5 people see it. But I know that I saw it, and I know that I'm happy about it. Like, Grant, so talking about my personal music and my art, Drake came out with a song, Just Hold On, We're Going Home. Someone showed it to me, literally me and Justin Jew, like, literally did this cover about it, like, had a video, like, in 2 days. It's probably the thing that's on my channel that's, like, over 500K views.
500K?
I want to say
Something
400,
like that,
400
I believe
500K.
so,
It's up. Maybe not 500, 100, 200. I don't know. It's
up there.
It's one of the big ones,
right.
And it's not like I bought the views. It's like it literally happened like in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I hate that because it's like it's a cover. It's not what I wanted to do. It's not like necessarily what I do. And of course, when like the idea is like you get the views, you get the subs, whatever. Then I put out like a song that I really like. No one's really carrying it, watching it. We put out a video, we like storyboarded it, we put it out New Year's, and I'm so proud of it because I'm actually seeing a lot of good traction. People are watching it. It's about like 4 to 5K right now. But again, like, it's not what's gonna hit the masses. But at the end of the day, I'm happy because it's legacy. It's like, this is the thing I'm proud of. Am I proud of doing a Drake cover? No. Am I proud of like creating something out of nothing and doing cool visuals and writing bars and stuff? Cool. That's what I love.
It's like an original idea.
Right. So when we work with Authur and his martial arts, same situation. Like, we looked at like other martial arts videos and we noticed, okay, they have some good concepts, but it's not beautiful. It's not. We drove out to the middle of the desert in Vegas?
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, tell about that story. You guys in the
Well, we're wrapping up like a bachelor party in Vegas, and then we had some extra time, so we're like, oh, let's go drive to Cali. So it was just me and Izzy. So we got in the car, driving from Vegas to Los Angeles. And if anyone's done that drive, it takes like 4 hours or so.
We did that drive.
we did.
We did
So
that drive.
it takes around like 4 hours, but
Yeah.
you're going through the desert. There's nothing around. So like, and then just randomly we're driving, like the sun is starting to set a little bit. So it's like coming down. And I was like, let's just pull over and film something real quick. And he's like,
Right off
yeah,
the
okay.
highway.
So
You
we
guys
just
were
pulled over.
inspired by just being there in that
Probably,
environment.
yeah. I mean, we didn't plan to shoot anything.
Nothing.
Until we got to LA, because Izzy was going to collaboration events out in California and stuff. So we didn't have anything planned until getting to the city. But we were just driving and we had the equipment anyway. So we're like, oh, yo, look, that looks dope. Like the sand and the dunes and stuff. So
Yeah.
let's just like pull over.
It's like
So,
not even nothing. Like no mountains, no like, oh, there's like that famous nothing.
Yeah.
Just
It's like an
desert.
old school Diddy video.
Basically, yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we shot it, and again, like someone who's not in the martial arts world, I don't know what I'm looking at, but I know for him, like he explains, we're focusing on the hands, the muscles. Like,
Right,
cool,
yeah.
got it. In my mind and in his mind, like we already relayed, like almost unspoken. I'm shooting this. You do what you got to do. We'll put music in the background. We're gonna make it look dope.
Yeah. I think it's definitely an interesting idea, especially I've been not living in New York for the past few years. So then, other people are like, well, you can like film, you can film wherever. Yeah. Sometimes I film on my own, but it's totally different to like ask a stranger or even just your friend. Like, but Izzy, like we just kind of connect in the creative, like our minds meld together enough. So I don't really have to ask him to do anything specific. And he doesn't have to ask me to do much except, just stand in this spot. That's all you gotta do.
Know.
Yeah, and we just know and just click. So it's like clockwork. Versus if you get somebody else, I gotta hold their hand and tell them to do all these weird things, and then they're like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
How long was the
it's
shoot?
messy.
How was long that desert shoot?
We did 3 takes, and then that was like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yo, go ahead.
And I was just saying, then we ended up editing in the hotel room. Remember?
Yeah.
We're in the hotel room just editing.
Damn,
It's a
see,
quick, it's a
that's
quick
what I
edit.
love, man.
And then
like
within
that
an hour
you
of
shot
work,
it, and then
it was
as soon
done.
as you got to hotel, you were like, "Yo, let me see what we got."
Right.
That's passion right there. I just heard you said I'm fucking passionate.
Yeah.
Like, I hear people say it, but then I hear people say it. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
yeah.
that's saying it without
Right.
saying it.
Yeah.
I love that, man. I do want to go back on what you just said. You said that at one point you moved away from New York.
Yeah.
And I thought it was crazy when I first heard it that you were picking up and leaving to another country, Hong Kong of all places.
Yeah, Hong Kong, China,
What made you?
East Asia.
What made you do that? And by yourself, right?
Yeah, I was by myself.
And to study the arts.
Study arts, just kind of like build myself and forge a totally different path that most people would walk down.
What was that like living there?
It's good. It's cool. Like, I mean, it's not my first time in China or in Hong Kong or anything like that. I've been there before. I speak Cantonese, not like fluently, but that's good enough.
In China, you get by with Cantonese.
Depends where you are. Some cities still
So
carry it.
you stayed in the Canto areas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My Mandarin is not that great, but
Okay.
so like I speak the language. I've been there before. I know some people out there. I have like some high school friends and stuff like that out there, and it's okay.
What'd you do when you were out there?
I train, I
That's
do
it?
a lot of training. I train martial arts.
No parties, no clubs, no.
Nah, not really. Some here and there. I still go out and
No
you just have to
massage.
socialize.
Massages.
How?
Still gotta socialize.
Yeah, no
you know?
massages.
I mean,
bro.
we went out partying when we were
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
so-
you know.
You're single,
Sometimes
right?
I'm
Wait,
not
are you in a
talking
relationship? Are you in a relationship?
What stays in Hong?
Yeah.
What happens in Hong Kong stays in Hong Kong.
Is that it? No.
Yeah.
But are you in a relationship?
I'm dating somebody. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's
Yeah.
at that time you were dating someone too.
Well, at the time I left, I was in a relationship and it became a long
You're
distance
being
thing.
conservative
Yeah.
because this is being recorded,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I was in a long distance relationship at that time, and then
I
we
got
stopped,
you.
and then I was single out in Asia.
So what made you want to come back to the States?
Well, I kind of miss it a little bit. Right now, it's a little like hectic over there with the health situation.
little bit?
You know, it's a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And then yeah, I mean, I miss New York. I it's not that I haven't come back. I've come back, you know, every couple times a year or something like that, just to visit family and do different things. But yeah, it's a amazing experience to live in a different country. Just kind of experience things in a totally different light, you know. And you get to it's gonna definitely like a culture clash between like American Chinese mindset versus like Asian mindset and things like that, and what people perceive as what is Chinese or Western.
Do they look at you like an outsider even though you look like them?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes.
That's wild,
depends.
right?
It depends. You
I
know?
remember when I went there, they gave me like the American boy menu, you know, or the white people menu. I was looking at it, and then my friend David, he was just like, he busted. I mean, his Cantonese is like phenomenal. So he sounds like he's from there, and he
Yeah.
looks like it too, right? And they see a 6'3" Chinese dude, and my Cantonese is so American. Like there's people that aren't Asian that speak Chinese like way more
yeah,
with a better dialect and you know.
Proper accent.
Yeah, the proper accent.
I don't know if that's a proper accent.
They do it much. So they gave me. I said, you know, in Chinese, I was like, oh yeah, this and that. I was ordering, but then they can hear the New York.
Yeah, you're somewhere else.
And then he looked at me like I'm a betrayer. He had this most disgusting look.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then he gave us like this other menu, and I was just like, what the fuck was that? And he goes, oh, that's dinner menu. I was just like, what? And then Dave looked at it. David was like, no. And he started busting out or ripping them. And they were like, oh. And he was talking to him in Cantonese. I could understand.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, I thought you guys weren't from here. I'm sorry. Da-da-da. I was like, yo, you motherfucker. Like, my dad's from Hong Kong, man. Our eyes do the same thing. Like, what is wrong with you, man?
Yeah.
And they treat me like I'm some type of like betrayer. That's wild.
I mean, they'll definitely think of you as not Chinese.
Yeah.
Unless they get to know you. So a lot of people, when they first met me, they thought I was straight up like. The thing that bugs me, they'll call you like in Hong Kong. The trendy term would be Chuxing is more of an American term. So over there they'll call you Guaylo.
No,
They still use that word.
You get Guaylo?
And so people would think like, oh,
You do not get
you're like
Guaylo.
you're like a
We
like
use
a Guay-
that. We use that for anyone that's not Asian here.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, but you know, in New York we'll use like terms like lofan and other terms.
But they use Guaylo
in
over
Hong
there
Kong
for
they use
other
Guaylo.
Asians? That's crazy.
No, for foreigners. So any foreigner they'll call them
Even
Guaylo.
Asians though.
Yeah, but they'll say like because I grew up somewhere else. I'm like a Guay Chai.
So
like,
then I would be I would
foreign
be
boy.
I would be called Golo Guaylo.
Yeah, go Guaylo.
How low
Go
can you
Guay
go low?
So,
That means tall.
yeah,
Everybody's
tall.
everybody's mom, even though they knew my name was Will. All my friends' moms growing up that was Asian, and my cousins, whatever, they wouldn't call me Will or anything. They would just call me Golo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's like
it
tall
was Golo,
Tall dude, yeah.
or when they were mad at me, it's say Golo.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What? Not even reference you
That's
by
funny.
name?
No,
Wow.
it was just
God,
Golo.
I
That
don't
became my
even-
nickname.
Yo, tall man.
I don't know what that means.
But in the streets,
tall man.
in the streets, like the Chinese, like the
alright.
hood and things like that,
Yeah.
and like the lower income bracket. You know, they're very rough. They're very rough around the edges, and
Sure.
they give everybody nicknames. They call them like
Yeah,
my other
well.
boy was called Sai Guatao.
Yeah.
You know, like that means like watermelon head. You know, like they
Wow.
just
Yeah, everyone
Watermelon.
got that's
Yeah,
like
'cause-
normal.
or they call
know,
them
I'll see.
Stewie face.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know
they-
what those words mean, but I'm gonna take it as disrespect.
It's
That's
disrespectful.
Yeah, I remember-
But at the same time, it's also like a term of endearment.
It's endearment.
Right.
Because like
You got
you're in
nicknames
our
for everybody.
circle, we're gonna give
Yeah.
you nicknames.
Right.
It's weird,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it
yeah,
works.
for sure.
It works.
Yeah.
Is there a how do you say foreigner in Tagalog?
I mean, I don't know if there's. I'm sure there's a foreigner term right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I can't even think about it, but like, you know, it's like you'll say words for like colors. You know what I mean?
Ah, got you.
Stuff
All
like
right.
that.
Like
So-
white guy.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. Like, but
Black
it won't
dude.
be like, but no, but it's not like guy, like white guy or black girl. It's just white, black.
Oh, okay.
They're not people.
They're not even
literally
people.
like
Damn,
literally like colors.
Damn,
This
Filipinos.
paper is pute,
And then the person
and that
will be-
guy is pute.
The pute.
You know, I will say,
That's
like
funny.
Filipinos, like now that we're on that, their looks like range so
much.
Like
So much.
you guys can be so ethnically ambiguous. Where
Right.
I'm staring at you like, is this motherfucker Mexican?
Right.
Or is this motherfucker
Or
Dominican,
Malaysian.
Puerto Rican?
Spanish,
'Cause
Like it's everything.
so-
And there's- they
yeah,
can be
is he
so
Malaysian,
dark,
Thailand? Is he Chinese?
They can be
like,
so dark. They can be so white. It's like
Yeah,
literally.
yeah.
it just depends.
Cross
But see,
spectrum.
like in the summertime, my wife, she could look really Filipino in the
Right.
in the summer times,
Right.
and then in the winter time when her skin lightens up. I mean, she's a mestiza, like what they
Right,
call
right,
it, the
right.
light skin. So
She looks Chinese.
She looks
almost.
Chinese,
Yeah.
or she really spruce it up, get the hair did
Right,
and
right,
all that.
right.
She looks Puerto Rican.
Right.
Like
Oh,
I'll bring
yeah,
out
I
my
can see
boys,
that.
be like, and then they wouldn't even recognize her. They're like,
Right.
yo, ain't you?
What
with-
happened to Lisa?
Yeah, what happened to your girl? What happened to your girl? I'm like, that is my girl, fool. Like they be like, yo,
Well, that's
that Puerto Rican girl I seen you with. I was like, nah, man, that's the same thing, man. Like,
Well, you know how like you guys
You know?
will go like
That's
go
fine.
to a Chinese restaurant or any restaurant. Maybe like you can tell that your server's Chinese or
Yeah,
the
yeah,
cashier's
yeah.
Chinese. So maybe you'll sprinkle a little Canto or Mando or whatever it is, and they're like, oh, you're Chinese. So then they give you
Yeah.
the hookup.
Yeah.
Like I can't do that because I might try to say some Tagalog and they're like, what? What are you talking about?
I'm Mexican.
yeah, I'm Chinese. Like you know what I mean? Like what are you talking about? And it's that's why it's just like I have to wait till like.
so you
hear
can't
them.
even identify other Filipinos sometimes.
It's very hard.
That's,
But
I thought it was just me.
But
Okay.
my parents are really good at it. And here's the weird part. Obviously, like maybe like because there's a good amount of Chinese people here in New York, it's not the case. But with Filipinos, like my dad's the kind of guy, he'll literally see like a Filipino like across the street, and he'll like, hi. I'm like, "Dad, oh, you know him? No.
He's
So,
Filipino. We're
why-
brothers.
Right. No,
It's my
this-
home.
this
you
is-
know, it's
like we'll
like
be in the
your home,
grocery
okay.
store. Oh, pare, ¿cómo está? Like, you know, and I'm like, oh, is that like your friend? Like, no, he's just a guy. I'm like, how do you know he's Filipino? He's Filipino. My parents, like, anytime is someone's ambiguously Filipino, they'll own it.
Yeah.
Like, they thought for the longest time, they thought Jessica Alba was Filipino. Why? Because she's pretty. Yeah, but a lot of girls are pretty.
Yeah.
You know what?
Spanish. No,
you know
no,
what?
she's
She
Filipino.
does kind of look ambiguous. I mean,
But
like,
she's like mixed
She
seven
does,
different ways.
but she's
or
like
something.
Mexican and all
Yeah.
that. Like,
oh, I didn't know.
She got like.
I thought she was Spanish. I thought
Right.
she was. Yeah.
I mean, she
I think-
probably
no, she
she
is.
probably has some Spanish. Yeah.
But I think she's mostly European.
And,
So
like,
one of
I
my
don't even
friends
know.
told me
Yeah.
that she did like a DNA test on like one of the TV shows. I think it was George Lopez, something like that. And then she was surprised to hear that she was mostly European. It's one of my buddies told me. But she looks, to me, like physically, she looks mostly like I have with the Latino influence. She looks mixed, but she looks like she has mostly Latino.
Sure.
Right.
So I could see how they could claim her.
Yeah, they just want to be able
I
to
would claim her too. Like,
Yeah.
no, she's Chinese.
She's Chinese.
She's
Right.
Chinese. She's from
But
Hong
pretty
Kong.
But then I remember
She's
like
from China.
sometimes they'd be watching like The Voice or like American Idol, and there's like someone who's Filipino. Like she's straight up, I'm Filipino, but like maybe she's not as attractive. Like, oh no, she's not Filipino. I'm like, what?
Whoa.
Come on.
Wow.
That's funny.
Or like, oh no, okay, she's Filipino, but not from our town.
That's
Oh,
funny.
who would say that?
Yo,
you talking about?
Filipinos,
No, it's all love.
out of all the Asians, right, the ones with the most pride, I would say top two, I'm going to say Filipino and Korean, hands down.
Oh,
You guys are like neck and neck.
I feel like as a Filipino, Korean's number one.
I think Koreans are probably up there.
Wait.
Yeah.
Do you consider Filipinos as Asian American?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because a lot of I think a good mix of like almost 50-50.
Well,
like
when
Filipinos
you say Asian,
no.
you mean Filipino Americans if they're Asian American, right?
Yeah.
Like not like if the Philippines are part of Asia. or
Wait,
whatever
why
the
wouldn't
case is.
Filipinos be Asian?
Well, because they say like Pacific Islander or whatever the case is. To be honest, I consider it part of the Asian American.
but it's still Asian Pacific.
right. That and also our experience. It's really
Right.
the experience, right? Like
Sure.
because of our similar upbringing, like traditions, like. If you say Spanish American or Latino American, like the way that their households are brought up is, I want to say wildly different than like a Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Filipino. But like the reason why we may resonate sometimes is because like the way that my parents brought me up, even though we look wildly
culture is
different,
different.
the
Yeah,
culture is
similar.
very similar.
Yeah.
The way we brought up on food, the way we're brought up on like togetherness and
I
family.
want to
all
go
that
back. Why do you say Koreans beat Filipinos? Because to me, I always going like, damn, y'all got mad pride.
Uh-huh.
Y'all carry your flags around. I remember Filipinos
That's
would
true.
wear like the
That's true.
beaded Filipino flags,
Oh, yeah,
like the
right.
Puerto Ricans.
Oh,
You remember that was
100%.
And I seen,
100%.
and everybody had. If y'all didn't wear it, if I went to your houses, y'all had it hanging somewhere.
Yeah.
That next to your rosary.
Right.
Every Filipino.
It's true. I would say that. That's
My
true.
girlfriend, everybody. I was just like, what is? I like. Did all of y'all had a meeting and say y'all gotta wear this shit? Like, I'd never seen Korean people wear like Korean flags around their neck.
Because they talk about it all the time. So like, you don't
but
have
I
to
know.
wear it.
So in your experience, what makes you think that like Korean? And I'm not arguing against that because y'all neck and neck.
The reason why I want to say it is because I noticed that Filipino Americans, they tend to, again, and this is just like from my experience, right? They tend to like be towards a particular type of other
Filipino.
culture. So it's like you can be more like the Asian Filipino, more with the Asians. So like you hang out with Chinese and Korean, and you sort of assimilate. You do all like you all karaoke and do all that stuff, but then there's like the Filipinos that like hang out with more like Spanish and Black and Afro Caribbean. Like it's almost like two different types of Filipinos, and then there's the Filipino Americans who just straight up hang out with just Filipinos. Whereas Korean Americans, in my experience, just Korean Americans. I mean, granted, they might have various friends in different cultures, but the idea is like there's a lot of, from what I've experienced, maybe in the neighborhoods I grew up in Queens and stuff, and there is like a good population of Koreans, good population of Filipinos, but Koreans like they go hard.
They go hard for one another, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they back each other up. Like they what I've seen, and this is so like I admired like Jews and Koreans.
Right.
Their communities, like they back each other up in businesses. They help promote each other,
and that's what it is.
They combine their purchasing power to increase their
The next thing I wanted to talk about
their power. Like
was
I just,
it's
sure.
like,
oh my gosh,
there's no, in my experience, there's no birthright for Asians, but Koreans do it anyways. Maybe Japanese people might do it. Chinese people, it's like there's too many of you guys, like whatever.
And they
But
know their way around tax laws and stuff.
Right.
They'll buy a crib and be like, it's a church.
Right. And they'll literally like set up funds to help.
Yeah, I'm a pastor. I'm a pastor. Come through. I ain't paying taxes on this shit.
And I noticed,
or a synagogue. It's like they're smart with how they.
Right. And I noticed with Filipino culture, like again in my experience, Filipinos, if they leave the Philippines, that's it. We're gone. Like, of course, there's pride, but there's not a lot of like, okay, let's put money back into the country because the country is such a like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's a whole other conversation. But we got like, I see my parents' friends, all that stuff. Like, we have pride for the Philippines, but they're not trying to go back. They're not trying to live
it's
there
pride
again.
for like the culture. I feel like versus like the place.
Yeah, my wife's parents, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, they want to go back to the Philippines, to the country. They love it.
Do you want to
there.
retire there? That's their.
They want to go there. Yeah, absolutely. They just they love the weather. Like
the
this.
weather. The weather's
They just love that hot ass weather.
Yeah.
Like it's when it's summertime, they're like like it's. My wife's gonna kill me because she hates when I impersonate them. But it's like they love it. They love the warm weather. And I love my mother-in-law. She's amazing.
Has to say that for the podcast.
No, I love my mother-in-law, man. Like I treat her like I would treat my own mom. You know what I mean? Right. I love her. That's for the record. But I see your point with the Koreans. Okay, I get it.
Right.
When you talk about Filipino pride, I also see that you guys are so musically inclined. Like every Filipino household has a freaking karaoke machine.
Straight for the stereotype.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
No, I think what he means. I think what he means is like you guys are fucking cool. Like I think Filipinos just are like.
It's
like I think
we're talking about like
out of all the Asians, you guys just have this natural like extra swag, like where we kind of have to learn it from our environment. I feel. Like you guys have it. Like you guys could be immigrants and just come into America, and y'all got that like swag. But you guys can sing well. You guys can dance. You guys are just seriously. And then the girls, the Filipino girls, like you can't like they're fucking amazing. They're gorgeous. I mean, when they're gorgeous, they're gorgeous. When they're not, they're not. There's like a very strong variance. There's no in between. It's like holy shit, she is mind blowing.
There's a lot of people like that.
And then you're like, oh, what the fuck is that? Like it's so right. Am I lying?
I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. There's that spectrum, but then I feel like that's spectrum, across all
cultures.
Ethnicities. Yeah. But I agree that you guys have this swag, je ne sais quoi.
Right.
I don't know. What is it? Is it is it rooted in something?
Do you think it's part of the Spanish heritage
Ooh.
I'm gonna say
So
that
it's like,
because you
it's like
guys.
the talent gene is
No, it's like
affiliated with
it's not the gene. It's like the culture.
You
so
got
like
that
Right.
sauce.
so they have
You know, that
music. They have a lot more
Right.
dancing music versus
Yeah.
like in Asia or like say like Chinese culture.
Right.
The
I really-
dancing
I
culture
agree
is
with
different.
that.
So it's more like folk
Right.
dancing, right? So like in
Yeah.
Chinese groups, there's a big group. Everyone kind of does a routine and stuff. Versus like salsa or tango, which is much
Right.
more intimate and like individual versus
Right.
group dancing, right?
Yeah, it's
And
more
so-
rhythmic.
Yeah.
Rhythmic.
And then also, I mean,
Rhythmic.
I'll say that. I'm not
Somebody
Filipino,
teach this
but
guy
yeah.
English. Bro.
Yeah.
He was
Oh,
born in
man.
America. He has no excuse.
I cannot
Oh
enunciate.
man.
Oh man.
What college you went to? Jesus.
I can't say.
He stutters
No
and
say.
now he,
Oh,
No
man.
say,
I
no
think
say.
my favorite. I'm gonna say this is super non sequitur. My favorite video that we ever put out is literally like a minute long video of Norman reading a script. And just messing up.
I love that.
oh yeah.
I'll say this. We were doing a shoot in like my old office with IPG, and it was like 2 a.m. We're tired.
We're delirious.
We're delirious. But Norm has a script, like it's written in front of him, and we're feeding him the lines, and he has to just say it in like one sentence increments, and he can't say the word for school farm trips. He can't say the word.
Can we get him on the spot
I mean,
now?
it seems like
What
a
he did
it seems
say
like a
it.
tongue twister.
He
right?
did say it.
I mean,
That's it.
For
Can you
school
say-
farm trips.
He said a lot of
But-
different ways. You know?
But I could feel how much brain concentration he was
Right.
using for that.
school.
And my favorite thing was his way to like say a line. He would count down from 3, 2, 1, but then he would do it without us. Like we have to wait. He has to wait for us to say action. And he's like 3, 2, action. What? Hold on. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it was just like one of my favorite moments because Norm is your star.
He was a
People
star,
want to
yeah.
see you, but I know sometimes he gets nervous and he's like, "Oh
Pure
man."
comedy.
He's a little
Gold.
shy,
Yeah.
camera shy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. We got to get you like a thesaurus.
Thesaurus?
Learn a
What?
word a day. We got you. We'll make this happen.
Okay.
Mm,
Yeah.
nice.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll take some classes after school.
I feel like if you give him a few drinks, he'll shine.
Oh,
Mm.
100%.
He'll stop.
Oh,
You know
no.
what it is? I think he overthinks.
That's what it is.
Right?
100% overthinker.
He's trying too hard.
Yeah.
Right?
It's tough not to overthink things, you know?
Yeah.
That's life, right?
He's like hyper analytical
Right.
on the inside, but on the outside, he comes off as like dumb sometimes. Like the show, you're like, well, this guy is like, no. And but when
Wait,
you
I
get to
gotta
know
bring out
him,
my notes.
Wow.
you know, like deep down inside, this guy's like, he's doing all the like, you can
See
the
the
wheels
math?
are, yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, the meme with like all the
Yeah, it's like when you look outside of a store, you're like, yo, this store is fucking burnt and run down, and wow, is this place
Yeah,
out of
no.
business? And then you go in there, and it's a packed house. And, you know, there's servers everywhere. People are partying.
Sure
they're
about
doing-
that? I
You're
don't know.
like, wow.
My mind's blank right now, so
That's what I was saying.
I'm clearing it out right now. for you
On the
guys.
outside, you're just like, what the fuck, man? But when you get to know him, you're like, oh, okay, there's something in there.
Right.
That's admirable. You know.
yeah.
You know.
It's an acquired taste, I guess, to be my friend.
No, it's not. I think it's like he's the type. You just take some time to get to know him, and you're like, oh, it's cool. It's cool.
It's getting hot in here.
Yeah.
I will say Norm is a good travel buddy. Norm, when we traveled to Hong Kong to go visit Arthur.
This is many years ago.
It's like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, not during this, you know.
Oh,
around
yeah,
this
no,
period.
there
You guys
no-
just came
there was
back
no
from Hong
virus.
Kong? Man, Jesus.
And it's funny. Norm brings his friend Joel, who nice guy, super sweet.
Oh, I gotta hear this.
But the whole thing is like, I feel like I'm on a trip with 2 children, because it's like, the whole time it's like, all right, we have like Norm was like responsible. He's like, we got an itinerary. We're gonna do this. I'm like, cool. And I'm thinking maybe I can relax because Norm's got this. First day, Norm's like, oh, let's go to this dim sum place. I'm like, okay. He's like, where is it? You ask him. I thought, what happened? So now I gotta like figure it out. I'm asking Joel, yo, do you know where we're going? He's like, where are we going? What? every time, like Joel was just along for the ride. Norm tried to give us directions and it got us lost. So I was like, all right, I'm taking over. Then we get to the dim sum.
You have better service. You have better service.
Yeah, I did. Oh, that's the excuse. Then we get to the dim sum place. It's like not a good dim sum place. They were
Yes, it was
They didn't
horrible.
have. They overcharged us.
Yes.
And after that, it was like our first day, like without Arthur. Like we're on our own, and I was like, All right, Norm, I'm taking over.
I think
I'm sorry.
I think that's what happened. They thought we were foreigners. You know, I mean, we are foreigners.
I don't know.
Yes.
They thought.
No, I remember
knew.
we were there. We were at the dim sum, and
They
we're
definitely-
asking. We're like, "Hey, do you have chicken feet?" They're like, "No chicken feet." And I was like, "What kind of a dim sum? What is this?"
Yeah, what kind of dim sum is that?
We were asking for like
It was a bad.
do you have
place.
a bao? Like you have bao? Do you have like the fried bao? No, we don't do that. What? Mayo. Mayo. And I'm like, what do you mean mayo? What do you mean mayo? Like, and I remember like we got out after spending like a lot of money for this crappy dim sum. I'm like, all right, Norm, I think I'm taking over. But it was fine because after that, then we started like getting into the rhythm. And the best thing about traveling with Norm is that he's a good photographer. So, we, you know, and this is like just for the people out there listening and watching this podcast, my biggest advice is if you're going to travel, bring someone who knows how to take photos.
So he's a good
and video.
Instagram husband.
Exactly.
That's great.
and vice versa.
Right.
Vice versa.
But
I mean,
that's
we
what
took
it
a
is.
lot of great pictures during that trip.
We did.
Epic ones.
We ended up going, what was it, Victoria Peak?
Yeah, we did.
And we like, poor Joel, because Joel was like super chill. And he's like, I'm just going to chill on this like bench. We left him there for like an hour, and then the three of us go shirtless on top of this mountain.
He must have been like, damn these Asians and
No,
their
no.
photo and their photography.
Dude, I was
Hey, for everybody listening, if you're not like interested in Asian guys, you got to get up on it. We are the best Instagram husbands.
Yes.
for sure.
We
sure.
love taking
100%.
photos,
Sure.
and we do
Technical.
we do the proper lighting.
Yeah.
We make it look so nice for you.
We got
like,
that stance. You know?
yeah,
That's all
man.
it
You got
is.
the proper stance.
and that's the thing. You got to do the horse stance.
Yeah,
The
you do.
wide-legged
You gotta
horse
have
stance.
a good
and-
stable
Telling you.
stance.
Yeah,
I'll say
People don't
this.
know about that.
All of
we've been
my-
doing that before digital cameras.
Right.
sure.
I'm saying this like all of my Hinge profile pictures looking dope. Looking dope because of Hong Kong. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
All right, looks like we're a little bit out of time. Sorry, this one
Well,
appears a little shorter than usual. We're in New York City, and Norm was circling around for 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes, whatever he said. It changes
today-
every time I ask.
Today is
But, he couldn't find parking.
Today's Chinese New Year.
Chinese New
though.
Year too, so
So
it's like
Saturday.
crazy.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we're not
Traffic.
in an Asian area.
Oh, traffic's everywhere is bad
Yeah,
today.
it's Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
You know what? I came
Chinese
here,
people everywhere.
Yeah.
I came here from a longer way, and I got here before you.
Oh.
So there's no excuses. All right, and I found parking.
Okay.
There
then
you
you
go.
gotta show me your parking spot.
Yeah, when we go, it's
I want proof.
It's right across the
Show me
street.
the receipts.
Yeah.
Anyway, I blame it on your driving.
It's not
Bro,
aggressive
you're
enough.
Not even aggressive. It's old lady.
Meanwhile,
It's
Norm the
terrible.
whole time he's like, "God damn it!" Like smacking the driver wheel.
Yeah.
And he's like cursing
No,
at
I
every
get it.
single driver.
It's very frustrating. I get it, but yo, we gotta have you back because I feel like, we barely scratched the surface.
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
so many other things
For sure.
that'll be so much more interesting. So many topics to get to really dig deep into with you guys, and you guys are. I think it'll be a fun podcast. So thank you for coming through.
No, thanks for
Thanks
having
for
us.
having us.
Yeah, man,
for
Definitely.
sure.
Yeah, and to the next episode, this Lucky Boys podcast with Dynasty Style Productions.
Yep.
Happy Chinese New Year. Peace out.
Yeah.
Peace. 各位拜拜。